In Turkey, there is a city where thousands of people lived in underground labyrinths, and in the catacombs of Paris, 6 million people rest. Today, we will delve into the mysteries of the most incredible underground metropolises on our planet. How were they built? Why did people leave the sunlight and go deep underground? Sit back comfortably and get ready to be amazed. We are going underground. Derinkuyu, Turkey. Imagine you are walking through a quiet Turkish village where goats graze and laundry dries, and suddenly you see a small hatch in the ground, and beneath it, an entire metropolis 160 feet deep. Derinkuyu is the underground world of the Cappadocia region, where 20,000 people lived, many centuries ago. There are rooms carved into the rock, with beds and niches for fire, kitchens with hearths and chimneys, churches with preserved frescoes, wineries with clay jugs, and even stables for livestock. Why was such a huge city built underground? Some legends say that people hid here from wars or epidemics. Other legends mention that angels once lived in Derinkuyu. Later, they moved to the heavens, and demons occupied the city. People trapped them in the underground, where they were confined for thousands of years. Which reason for the city's construction is true remains unclear. Coober, Pedy, Australia. Now let's move from Turkey to the scorching desert of Australia, where people found a way to escape the heat. How? It's simple. They went underground. Coober, Pedy, a town carved right into the soft red sandstone. There are homes with spacious rooms, bars, and even churches with altars carved into the stone. All underground. Currently, about 2,000 people live there. The history of Coober Pedy began in 1915 when settlers came here to mine opals. Beautiful precious stones. On the surface, the temperature reaches up to 122 degrees in Fahrenheit. The local miners initially lived on the surface, but later moved into the dugout mines. Gradually, people furnished them, turning them into cozy homes. Interestingly, Coober translates from the Aboriginal language as white man's burrow. In the underground city, the temperature does not rise above 77 degrees. Tourists love to come here, eager to see the underground lifestyle or buy opal souvenirs. Beijing Underground City, China. Let's return to a cooler place. Beneath bustling Beijing, where millions of people hustle through the streets every day, lies a grim Cold War secret. In the 1960s, Mao Zedong ordered the construction of a network of bunkers beneath the capital of China in case of a nuclear attack. The result was not just shelters, but a true underground metropolis. The tunnel stretched for 50 miles, and the complex was intended to accommodate 6 million people. Until the 1970s, there were restaurants, hospitals with operating rooms, storage facilities with canned goods, and even theaters here. A multitude of people built the bunker, ranging from schoolchildren to retirees. Some of the tunnel dungeons connect key points of the city, from government buildings to train stations. Now the bunker is not operational, and most of the premises are flooded. But who knows what really lies behind the iron doors of the bunker? Empty corridors with peeling paint or secret military bases? Matmata, Tunisia. Far from Beijing, in the African city of Tunis, hides Matmata, a city that seems to have been carved into the earth by aliens. Dozens of artificial caves extend into the solid ground, and to this day, they still serve as homes for many people. The Berbers, an ancient people of the Sahara, created these homes thousands of years ago. Escaping the scorching sun and enemy raids, they dug everything by hand, using shovels and picks, reinforcing the walls with clay. Today, people live here who bake bread in underground ovens, grow olives, and welcome tourists. Showing their strange way of life, have you seen Matmata in Star Wars? It's the home of Luke Skywalker. In fact, one of the Berber homes was filmed for a scene in this movie. Matmata is truly a mysterious alien city that attracts many tourists. Kaymakli, Turkey. Let's return to Turkey to another underground wonder, Kaymakli. This city is smaller than Derinkuyu, but no less mysterious. In ancient times, about 15,000 people could hide here. At a depth of 60 feet, in a labyrinth of narrow corridors and secret rooms. There were grain mills, water reservoirs, and wine cellars where huge jars of alcohol were stored. Kaymakli was built many centuries ago, possibly at the same time as Derinkuyu. Rumor has it that somewhere deep down, there is a tunnel that connects these two cities. Stone doors, resembling millstones, were rolled into the passages to keep enemies out, and hollowed holes in the walls allowed air to flow underground. How did ancient people, without blueprints and machines, create such a complex underground system? Some believe that Kaymakli is part of a vast network of cities beneath Cappadocia. and a large part of it remains undiscovered. Could archaeologists be on the verge of finding even more underground cities in Turkey? The Edinburgh Vaults, Scotland. Now let's head to Europe, to the city of Edinburgh. Here, beneath the ancient streets, lies a grim underground world from the 17th century. Originally, these were cellars and storage rooms, but over time they transformed into an underground city. The poor, craftsmen, and criminals lived here, hiding from the law. Narrow corridors with rough stone walls were lit only by torches, and dampness and cold permeated everything around. They were dug by hand, expanding natural voids, and soon shops, residences, and even taverns appeared in the underground. It is said that in these tunnels, serial killers William Burke and William Hare stored the bodies of their victims. Today, the underground city is open to tourists, but many complain of feeling anxious while walking through the local streets. Some locals still believe that ghosts roam the Edinburgh underground. Montreal's underground city, Canada. Not all underground cities have ancient roots. In the Canadian city of Montreal, a modern metropolis sprawls underground, built in the 20th century. Its tunnels connect houses, offices, shops, and metro stations throughout downtown Montreal, saving people from the cold and traffic jams. It all started with simple passageways between buildings, but over time it grew into an entire network where thousands of people live, work, and buy coffee without going above ground. There are glass ceilings that let in light, entertainment areas, and squares adorned with fountains. Now underground Montreal continues to actively expand, which raises the question, will other major cities around the world also have to go underground over time? Matera, Italy. And now let's sail from snowy Canada to sun-drenched Italy. Imagine standing on a picturesque hill in the town of Matera, admiring the ancient city, and then discovering that much of it is hidden underground. Matera is an ancient settlement where generations lived in caves, carved by hand. It all started with simple shelters carved out with stone tools, but over time the caves turned into a real city. Now the majority of the city's population lives in beautiful stone houses, but some still prefer to live deep within the majestic and beautiful cliffs. Today, Matera is a UNESCO site that serves as an example of how beautiful and mysterious human dwellings can be. The Paris catacombs, France. However, Europe is not only a place of beautiful and picturesque locations, but also of eerie dungeons with sinister histories. Beneath romantic Paris lies a dark underground complex, the so-called Paris catacombs. This vast area covers 4,000 square miles, but the size is not the most astonishing fact about the catacombs. It is here, beneath the streets of Paris, that the remains of 6 million people rest. It all began in the 18th century when the city's cemeteries became overcrowded, and the bones were moved to the old quarries beneath the city. For centuries, limestone and other stones were extracted from these mines for the construction of houses, churches, and entire cathedrals. Thousands of workers with shovels and wheelbarrows eventually created a labyrinth up to 100 feet deep. Later, smugglers hid here, and during World War II, the resistance, unwilling to submit to the fascist invaders, took refuge. Now, the catacombs of Paris present a grim spectacle. The walls are adorned with skulls, and the air is filled with dampness and dust. What is it like to live above such a city of the dead? And what might the unexplored corners of the catacombs hide? Wieliczka, Poland. Let's leave the grim walls of skulls for a cozier place. In Poland, beneath the city of Wieliczka, lies an underground world of salt. These are not just mines. It's an entire history spanning 700 years. Salt has been mined here since the 13th century, and workers manually created tunnels, halls, and even chapels at a depth of 1,000 feet. The local mines have transformed from a mining enterprise into full-fledged museums that preserve amazing artifacts. Deep within the earth, tourists can admire salt statues, chandeliers, and beautiful underground lakes. The total length of the passages is about 800 feet, spreading a network of mysterious tunnels into the depths of the earth. However, most of the mines are closed to visitors, so people can only see a small part of the giant underground complex that once supplied salt even to the royal court. The air here is healing due to the salt, and tourists still descend into this crystal city for lung treatment surrounded by beautiful statues. But what might be hidden in the closed part of the underground mines? Xi'an, China. It's been a long time since we've been in Asia. It's time to fix that. Let's take a look at the Chinese city of Xi'an, whose depths hold many interesting secrets. It is in this city that the legendary terracotta army was found. But few know that there is a network of ancient tunnels here that go deep underground. They were dubbed during the Han Dynasty era, 2,000 years ago, for shelter from enemies and food storage. The local underground network stretches for dozens of miles of passages at depths of up to 65 feet. There were living quarters, hiding places, and even stables. The entire space was made by hand, using shovels and baskets for the earth. Later, the tunnels were used as bomb shelters. Today, they are almost forgotten, but what if in the future people have to use them again to escape threats? Naples, Italy. And once again, our journey takes us through Italy. Naples, one of the oldest cities in Europe, is famous not only for its picturesque nature and romantic sunsets. More than 2,000 years ago, the Greeks and Romans dug quarries here, and later aqueducts and shelters. As a result, the underground networks formed a complex system of stone and dust. This is 248 miles of tunnel at a depth of up to 130 feet. During World War II, these underground areas played a significant role in saving many human lives. Tens of thousands of people hid here from bombings, and after the war, they managed to return to the surface and continue living peacefully. In the Neapolitan underground, halls, wells, and even a theater were built. All of this is ancient. People built without drills, using pickaxes and torches. Nowadays, tourists visit here, but who knows, maybe only a part of the ancient underground world is accessible to them for visiting. Moscow, Russia. Meta 2. After warming up in Italy, we head to the snowy capital of Russia, Moscow. Here, beneath the bustling and populous capital lies an extensive metro network. But not everyone knows that some of the operating metro lines are adjacent to others, secret ones. Metro 2 is a network of tunnels, rumored to have been built during the Soviet era for the secret transportation of the state elite. Metro 2 was dug in the 1930s, and its underground passages connect the Kremlin and other city structures into a unified whole. This network of tunnels was built in secret, without revealing the full plan even to the workers, to hide the true location of the passages from prying eyes. During the USSR era, there were command posts, warehouses, and residential areas here, all made entirely of concrete. Today, there are legends about Metro 2, but what is there now is unknown. Could it still be secretly functioning? Seattle, USA. Through Siberia, we move to Alaska, and then to the city of Seattle. Here, beneath the modern streets, lies an underground city from the 19th century. After the fire of 1889, the streets were raised above ground, and the old buildings went under the foundation. Shops, houses, and alleys up to 30 feet deep are built from brick and wood. It's hard to believe that the current residents of Seattle live above the old Seattle. Today, it's a museum where people can dive into history and walk along the ancient streets, experiencing what it was like to live in those distant years. And do the ghosts of old Seattle hide in its shadows? Turda, Romania. Let's leave America and head to the homeland of Count Dracula, Romania. Here, in the city of Turda, salt was mined in ancient times. The salt mines of Turda began to be developed as far back as Roman times, 2,000 years ago. But over time, they turned into a true underground metropolis. Here, they mined precious white gold, carving out huge halls up to 160 feet high, with smooth walls and crystal vaults. Everything was done by hand, with pickaxes and wooden wheelbarrows. There is even an underground lake where you can ride boats, and galleries where the air heals the lungs. In the Middle Ages, thousands of people worked here, and the length of the tunnels is more than 24 miles. Today, it's a tourist attraction, but what was it like to live in such a salt kingdom? And what do its deepest shafts conceal? Osaka, Japan. Let's move to Japan, where beneath bustling Osaka lies a modern underground city. The Umeda district, well, it's not just a subway, but a network of tunnels and halls built in the 20th century. There are stores with bright displays, restaurants with the aroma of ramen, and offices, all at a depth of up to 98 feet. It was constructed from the 1960s to alleviate street congestion and protect against natural disasters. Concrete corridors, glass ceilings, and escalators were created using technology, but everything was thought out to the smallest detail. From ventilation to lighting, thousands of people pass through here every day without even realizing they're in a giant underground complex. Mexico City, Mexico. To warm up, let's move to Mexico. Here, under Mexico City, the capital of Mexico, ancient Aztec tunnels are hidden. More than 500 years ago, even before the Spanish arrived, channels and shelters were dug under the city of Tenochtitlan in the soft volcanic soil. These were secret passages, storerooms, and even temples carved by hand with stone tools. After the conquest, the Spanish built over Mexico City, but the underground chambers remained, up to 65 feet deep. Archaeologists have found ceramics, altars, and bones, but most of it remains unexplored. Why did the Aztecs go underground? Were they hiding treasures or preparing for something dreadful? Budapest, Hungary. Let's leave the deserts of Mexico and return to Europe. Beneath Budapest, in the Buda Hills, lies a subterranean city that began to be dug as early as the 13th century. It's a network of caves and tunnels under the Buda Castle, created in the soft limestone. There were storerooms here, prisons and shelters at a depth of up to 15 meters. Medieval inhabitants expanded the natural grottos by hand with shovels and wheelbarrows, and the length of the passages is about 10 kilometers. In the 20th century, a hospital and bunker were made here. There is even an underground spring. Today it's a museum, but there are rumors about secret passages along the Danube. Are they hiding the secrets of the Hungarian kings? Canberra, Australia. In Canberra, the capital of Australia, lies the 20th century Berber network underground. They were built in the 1940s as a wartime shelter. These are concrete tunnels and halls at a depth of up to 60 feet, created using drills and explosives. There were command posts, warehouses, and even radio stations designed for hundreds of people. The total length is about 3 miles. Today they are closed, but there are rumors about secret levels under the parliament. Who used them? And are they being prepared for new use? Helsinki, Finland. In Helsinki, there is a modern underground bunker city. It was built since the 1960s as a shelter in case of war. These are tunnels, halls, and warehouses up to 80 feet deep, dug into granite with drills and explosives. The length is about 124 miles. There are gyms, parking lots, and even a church designed for thousands of people. Today, part of it is open, but the bunkers are ready for use. What awaits this underground world? And will it become the metropolis of the future if a third world war begins? Pyongyang, North Korea. In North Korea, beneath Pyongyang, a secret underground city is hidden. It was built in the 20th century as a shelter for the elite and the military. These are tunnels and bunkers up to 980 feet deep, dug with drills and explosives in the rock. The length is dozens of miles. It is said that there are command centers, warehouses, and even a subway for evacuation. Everything was done in secret, and access is closed. What hides in these depths? We are unlikely to find out anytime soon. Which of these cities surprised you the most? Would you like to descend into Derinkuyu or walk through the catacombs of Paris? Write in the comments, like, and subscribe if you want to learn more about interesting corners of our planet.